Murder charges in connection with two missing women from Whitby.
It did arrest a 30-year-old male, Joshua Burton, who is the son and grandson of the two females.
Burton now faces second-degree murder charges. The two women remain missing and presumed dead.
Wasn't able to detect a heartbeat.
Plus, it is a devastating loss and one often kept quiet. Tonight, the push for support for women who suffer early pregnancy loss.
It's one of the few conventions that feels like I'm coming home, even though it's not my home.
The Heroes return after a pandemic hiatus. A scaled-back Toronto Fan Expo is underway. We'll show you the excitement from the convention floor.
This is CBC Saturday News.
Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Shannon Martin. We have an update tonight in the disappearance of two Whitby women. Durham police say a 30-year-old man, the women's son and grandson, now faces second-degree murder charges. Our Dale Manukduk joins us live from outside the family home. Dale, you have been there all day. What's the latest from police?
Yeah, Shannon, just outside the Burton's residence on Scepter Place in Whitby, where police did release this scene earlier today. It was cautioned off, taped off for a number of days dating back to October 14th when police originally came here to do a wellness check on 58-year-old Ava Burton and her mother, 85-year-old Tilda Noble. It was then when they noticed some suspicious items and circumstances that led them to alert the Major Crimes Unit. Here's what Acting Sergeant George Tudos had to say.
Were here for days, and based on all the evidence that they've collected, that they've sent to the Center of Forensic Sciences, and now also based on the investigation as it unfolds, they came to the conclusion that they are presumed to be dead, and that's how they got the information to lay charges against the 30-year-old male who resided at this residence as well.
Now, it's still unclear what the items were in the house or the circumstances that led them to believe that it was suspicious. We also know that Joshua Burton, who, as the acting sergeant mentioned, lives in this home, he was originally cooperating with police. We're not sure if he still is today. He was arrested yesterday and in Oshawa and now charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder, Shannon.
Dale, I know just a short time ago you happened to talk to some family friends there. They just must be so upset.
That's right. They're actually still here on scene. They just laid some flowers at the doorstep here, actually just here in front of the garage. But they were absolutely devastated by this news. You know, they have a very close relationship to the entire family, both the grandmother, Ava Burton, and their son, Joshua Burton as well. And as you'll see here, they were just absolutely wrecked.
She was the first person I met when I started working in Toronto, and then we used to go to church together after that. She's a loving person, a church-going person. Lovely woman. Lovely woman. It's not even possible how this is happening.
And what do you think about all these allegations that Joshua's been arrested for second-degree murder of both of them?
It's shocking. Nothing that anybody could have anticipated. It's very shocking. Like, I don't know what to make of it.
So I've spoken to several people here today. They say that the Burtons moved in here roughly 2 to 3 years ago, that Ava Burton was had a very strong faith and loved to cycle with her best friend and late husband, Philip Burton, who died in May after a 5-year battle with cancer. He was also a TTC bus driver. And they say that Joshua Burton was very quiet and, for the most part, kept to himself.
Yes, Dale, and police mentioning, too, they are still looking for the remains of the two women, hopefully to bring some of those friends there some closure. Thank you so much for your reporting on this today. To some developing news now. This is a live look at a scene this afternoon of a deadly shooting. Police got the call just before 4 this afternoon of shots fired in a plaza parking lot. One man was pronounced dead on scene. Homicide now taking over the case. Officers are asking for anyone with dash cam footage to contact them. Ontario reporting 373 new COVID-19 cases today and 6 more deaths. With case counts, hospitalizations, and ICU admissions stabilizing, the province is planning to lift all COVID public health measures by the end of March. In Toronto today, it's marking the last day of the Vax in the 6 campaign. 6 vaccine clinics were hosted at subway stations across the city.
Increased workplace violence, staffing shortages, worker burnout, they are all connected, and we urgently need solutions because things are getting worse every day. Ontario hospitals are broken, hospital workers are broken and leaving. The people of Ontario are suffering the consequences.
This week, the city announced that 83% of eligible residents are fully vaccinated. For a list of clinics still operating around the city, you can visit the city's website. A protest at Queen's Park today around the Dog Owners Liability Act. Some say that legislation unfairly targets specific breeds.
Many of the owners here would tell you that they're scared even just to walk their dog because they're afraid of animal control coming by and taking their dog away. These dogs that are not doing anything should not be targeted because of their breed. They should be targeted solely based on a behavior.
Protesters calling on the province to remove breed-specific language from the act, which prohibits restricted pit bulls. This dog owner wants the legislation to change.
I'm here to support the breed-specific legislation. I'm here to finally put an end to it. They're based off stereotypes. So these stereotypes of lockjaw, these stereotypes that these dogs are aggressive.
They believe the issue is dog owners, not a specific breed when it comes to a dog's temperament. The province banned pit bulls in 2005 after a Toronto man was mauled by 2 dogs. The ban prohibits ownership, breeding, and importing of pit bulls. Also at Queen's Park today, a peaceful protest to bring international awareness to the religious clashes happening in Bangladesh.
In this way, we thought to bring prayer and protest together to say, you know, this has to stop. The authorities need to take this seriously.
Organizers say they are demonstrating in solidarity with Hindus and other religious minorities in Bangladesh. This follows deadly clashes that began on October 15th. A protester telling us this is one of many peaceful protests happening right across Canada today. Sophia Cambalia is here now, and I was creeping your Instagram. I saw you're all ready for Halloween at the house. It's looking pretty good there.
All ready for Halloween, but not ready for winter yet, which
No,
I
it's
should
so
be.
chilly.
Yeah, spooky temperatures are what we are forecasting for the week up to Halloween. Shannon, it'll fit right in with the decor at my house. Single digits right across the board. A cool, dreary weekend. We got a gusty northwest wind. It is on top of the warmer lakes, bringing some lake effect showers. But besides that, the weekend won't be a total washout. It is a teaser, though, to lead up to the big Colorado low, the first big Colorado low of the season that has set its sights on the southern Great Lakes Basin. It is brewing in the Midwest right now, set to deliver a prolonged soaking to all of us, really, in southern Ontario and up to cottage country in eastern Ontario. Into Monday, it's going to be a really wet, active, windy start of the work week. Special weather statement just came out from Environment Canada for some of the areas along the Lake Erie shores that could see 30 to 50 millimeters of rain. For everybody else, Sunday into Monday, this system continues to move north and east and will deliver a widespread 20 to 40 millimeters of rain for a really, really soggy Monday. Did I mention wet and rainy and windy? Because the gusts will be upwards of 40, 50, even 60 kilometers an hour throughout the day. Monday, it's a troughing pattern that will be with us for the long range. I'll tell you how long it lingers when we see you in a couple of minutes.
Hopefully not all the way to Halloween. Thanks so much, Sophia.
Bye.
October is Infancy and Pregnancy Loss Awareness Month, a time to honor the babies who've been lost and support their families. 1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage. Then there are the babies who are stillborn or pass away shortly after birth. Advocates say there should be more conversation around these kinds of losses to help normalize the issue. Our Angelina King spoke with one woman who is sharing her story in hopes of helping others.
This was the little hat that they put him in.
Born still, but still born. That's how Samantha DeVille articulates her son Oakley's story.
You hold your baby, you see your baby, you deliver your baby, you have a baby. It's whether he's breathing or not, that you have a child.
In January, Devili found out she was pregnant with her second child. Her wish was coming true, having 2 boys close in age. Her pregnancy was going well, but 26 weeks in, she stopped feeling Oakley move. She went to the hospital just to be sure, and she went alone, thinking everything would be fine. But then the doctor told her what no parent should ever hear.
He wasn't able to detect a heartbeat.
There was a knot in the umbilical cord, cutting off all life supply. Her doctor said there's a less than 1% chance of that happening, but it did. And the next day, she got induced. After 20 hours of labor, she held Oakley for the first and last time on June 15th.
You get all of those feelings that you would get if your baby was alive. You just fall instantly in love with your child. And I couldn't stop holding him. I couldn't stop loving him and kissing him because he just looked so perfect.
I just need to share this story.
Devili shares her experience on social media so others feel supported. Her message?
You're not alone, even though I know you feel like you are. The more we normalize it, the more women will feel that they're not alone, and they'll feel more empowered to share their versions of their stories.
Expand out in all directions.
Jessica Sennett is a prenatal and postpartum fitness instructor who also works with women after pregnancy loss. 3 years ago, she lost a baby in the first trimester.
You know, it never really goes away.
At first, she didn't talk about it, but says hearing other stories made her comfortable to share hers.
I think ultimately talking about it was what actually helped me heal the most.
It's such a hidden issue.
The psychiatrist says the best way to support someone is to acknowledge their loss.
To say, I'm really sorry for your loss. You may even say, I don't even know what to say. You know, I think asking the person what they might need, people grieve really differently, but people don't forget that baby.
Devili visits Oakley every week and teaches Wyatt to always honor and remember his brother.
It is important for everyone in my family to acknowledge and understand that we did have a little boy, and he is a part of our family.
While Devili shares her story to help others, ultimately she does it for Oakley. Angelina King, CBC News, Innisfil.
We had some technical issues earlier, but we felt it was important to bring you this story. 2 unions representing nearly 70,000 hospital workers across the province say the increase in violence against staff is pushing employees to leave healthcare.
Increased workplace violence, staffing shortages, worker burnout, they are all connected, and we urgently need solutions because things are getting worse every day. Ontario hospitals are broken. Hospital workers are broken and leaving. The people of Ontario are suffering the consequences.
During a virtual press conference earlier today, the Canadian Union of Public Employees and SEIU Healthcare called on the government to boost staffing levels and protections for workers. The unions say a staff survey found the level of violence from patients or patients' families is way up during the pandemic. The province says it has been working closely with the Mental Health and Addiction Centre of Excellence at Ontario Health to develop support services for frontline healthcare workers, and that it's invested over $52 million to recruit, retain, and support over 3,700 more frontline workers and caregivers through their COVID-19 fall preparedness plan. Moving to the prairies, Saskatchewan is continuing to grapple with a devastating 4th wave of the pandemic. Now, the Canadian Armed Forces are sending in help. They will be deploying up to 6 critical care nurses and 2 medical assistance teams to help support ICU and acute care nurses. All personnel will have to be trained before they can begin working. The Armed Forces will also be helping with transport for patient transfers. And starting next week, up to 3 COVID-19 patients in ICU will be transferred from Saskatchewan to Ontario every day. The forces say they are expecting to support the province until November 17th at least. Talks are also underway to send more personnel from the Canadian Red Cross. We have new information tonight on that deadly shooting on an American movie set. CBC's Chris Reyes has the latest on the incident that has rocked the industry.
An eerie quiet and emptiness on the movie set of Rust in Santa Fe, New Mexico. The production is still shut down after 2 crew members were shot on Thursday by Alec Baldwin, the lead actor on the movie. Joel Souza, the director, was injured and released. Helena Hutchins, the cinematographer, died in hospital.
She just lit up a room with her smile and her radiance and her charm, and we're all going to miss her so much.
The affidavit from the investigation reveals Baldwin was handed what's known as a cold gun, a gun with no live rounds. When he fired the weapon, Hutchins was hit in the chest and Souza in the shoulder. The police later said the gun contained live rounds. The union representing prop masters on set told their members the same thing. The first 911 call from a script supervisor reveals crews may not have realized the gravity of the injuries.
So was it loaded with a real bullet or one?
I cannot tell you that.
Okay.
We have 2 injuries from a movie gun shot.
The LA Times reported that crew members walked off the set just hours before the shooting to protest poor working conditions. The movie is an American Western, and according to the report, at least 1 camera operator complained about gun safety after 2 accidental prop gun discharges on set. On social media, filmmakers sounded off on the dangers of using prop guns. One TV show, The Rookie, announced on Friday they're banning the weapons in their production.
I don't understand why we would still use blank rounds in a day when you can simulate them. If you have the money, you can simulate them well.
Souza issued a statement on Saturday saying he is gutted by the loss of his friend and colleague. He described her as vibrant and incredibly talented. On social media, Hutchins' husband posted a loving tribute to his wife, including photos with their 9-year-old son. He wrote, "Her legacy is too meaningful to encapsulate in words. Our loss is enormous." A vigil for the beloved filmmaker will take place tonight in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
If you happen to see Spider-Man, Batman, or any other characters walking around downtown Toronto this weekend, odds are they aren't celebrating Halloween early. They're most likely heading to Fan Expo. As Yelena Adzik shows us, a scaled-down version of the event is taking place for the first time since the pandemic began.
Let me start by giving you a look at the lineup. People have been steadily waiting to get inside. You see a shark, there's a goblin, some Spider-Man, and there's a Batman there too. And you know, on the inside, where of course they are putting a lot of safety measures in place, including mask wearing, there are many people that are just so thrilled to have this happening once again. Have a listen.
Toronto is an amazing city to come visit because it has so much life to it. There's so many things to come see. It's one of the few conventions that feels like I'm coming home, even though it's not my home. And it's just this really great group of people that put it together.
And there you get a sense of the costumes, the embroidery, so much cosplay going on. I'll give you more of a look inside there as we talk about some of the various people that will be here signing autographs and that have been throughout the weekend. So DC's Chief Creative Office, Jim Lee, the Canadian writer behind Marvel Action Captain Marvel, that's Sam Maggs. Also Archie Comics artist Dan Parent. The list really goes on, but so many different artists and designers and writers behind those graphic novels that people love so much. And right now we have a chance to connect with Andrew Moyes. And Andrew, you are one of the organizers. You're the man behind this whole event, and it has been quite a while where we haven't been able to have this kind of a fan expo go on. So tell us why it is so significant.
Well, this is a community-driven event. I mean, this is Fan Expo Canada. It's a national signature event for this country. In a normal time, we would welcome over 130,000 people down here, taking up both buildings of the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. So you can imagine the impact that an event like this has on Canada and the gap that's been there without it. So there's a great sense of excitement, a really great sense of energy as customers are reconnecting with the vendors and as fans are reconnecting with each other. We come together to discover, celebrate, belong, and that's truly happening more than ever this weekend.
That's Andrew Moyes, Vice President of Fan Expo. For more info and pics, you can always go to fanexpocanada.com. Back over to you, Shannon.
Well, this week, the Imaginative Film and Media Arts Festival has been in full swing. The annual event is offering virtual programming that celebrates Indigenous content creators.
Indigenous creation comes in all forms, so we're really proud that we can say, you know, we have drama, we have comedy, we have romance, we have like anything you can think of, documentary, feature, you know, it's a real mix.
All of these hard truths that are coming out is that artists really do have a lot of care and compassion in the way that they tell the story. There's a lot of honor to who's telling it, and then also honor to the spirit of what has happened in a way that feels like it is towards healing.
The festival showcases 145 works from artists representing 51 Indigenous nations in more than 26 languages. Tomorrow is the final day when new films will be released, but audiences can watch them up to 48 hours after. The festival will also be giving out over $55,000 to artists in more than 16 different award categories. Sophia is back with her spooky single-digit forecast for us. Not looking good.
No, it's making me think about what I should wear for Halloween, though, seeing all this cosplay. We should do a joint costume. What do you think? On Halloween Sunday.
Let's do it.
Yeah, spooky forecast. Enjoy the little bit of fall while you have it. The double digits across the board right now, but it doesn't last long, courtesy of this big troughing pattern that we are getting into for the next couple days. Watch, this is going to be Arctic air. It stays with us really for the long range. Active storm track will be eventually right on top of us. Here's the bubble continuing to burst, okay? We had this really nice warm track above seasonal days almost across the board for almost all of October, and now our daytime highs are squarely in the single digits. It's a track that will continue. Frost advisories are in place, folks, and there's really, really bleak numbers when it comes to sunshine for this upcoming week ahead. Just the messenger, okay? Let's talk about the Colorado low over the next 36 hours or so. It's late Sunday that it comes in. For those of you in southwestern Ontario, it will be widespread by Monday for everybody in the southern Great Lakes Basin, and it sticks around until Tuesday along with those cooler temperatures, and there is another bout of rain as you head into the weekend before Halloween, when all the kids want to kind of get dressed up at school.
Yes, for sure. Thanks so much, Sophia. Have a great night.
You too.
And that is our show for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. You can stay caught up on news anytime on our website. Have a great night.